Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Transylvania and welcome to the European Triathlon Union Multisport Festival. European Championships and Multisport Festivals always start with a parade of nations, with nearly 2,000 athletes and their friends, families, supporters coming here to the heart of Transylvania. The Parade of Nations was absolutely amazing. The centre of the city was closed down. The Knights of the Order of Wolves were there, and they escorted the athletes through the city centre. Drums were beating, flags were being waved. The city came out to greet the athletes, to welcome them, and then they got to the castle. But they couldn't enter the castle unless they gave the password. Dragons came to meet vampires. And then we moved on to the first of the races, which was in fact the cross triathlon. A good lineup here with the defending champion Tim van Hemel from Belgium up against some really stiff competition from those who wanted to take that title from him. The water temperature was 25.5 degrees, air temperature 24, so there was no wetsuits. Very tense atmosphere before we get started. 1,000 metres in the water, followed by a number of laps up in the hills, and a final run. As the athletes are lined up in competition order, the introductions took place. They took their place on the starting line. In this race, we managed to mix the under-23s with the elite athletes.
Now we're ready, but before we start with the introductions, please put your hands together for our technical officials. Race number 43 representing.
Our technical officials are there to manage the start of the event, so they get the athletes in the right order. Arthur Serrier, watch out for him. Former under-23 champion Kubicek from the Czech Republic, strong on the Xterra circuit. Silberbauer from Austria, new on the block, it seems, quite a strong athlete. We're going to see a lot more of him later. Ridolfi as well. The Italian team, very strong. Puertas, we need to watch out for Puertas because his swim today was magnificent. Alex Rhodes from Great Britain, one of the only British athletes racing at the elite level. Also races in the winter triathlon circuit. Rosafa, so strong on the bike, so strong on the run.
53 from Spain, Ruben Rutafa. Race number 54 from Romania, Alin Mihai Kupsa. Race number 55 from Croatia, Silvie Tomac. And 56 from Italy, Filippo Barazzo.
With the elite athletes finished, we now move on to the under-23 athletes, led here by Gatti from Italy. Taking their position on the start line. It's a very small, very tight start line. And the officials are there to make sure that nobody gets a false start. This young man from the Netherlands, there are two of them, under-23 and a junior, Hune. We shall see a lot more of these two athletes in the years to come as well. Watch out for him in the swim. Under starters' orders, the heartbeats are there. So it's 1,000 metres anti-clockwise swim around this wonderful lake in the complex where we can see up to 10,000 spectators on a very busy day. As soon as the men were off, we were able to get the women organised. Again, we mixed the elite women with the under-23 women.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
24 elite men and under-23 men. 14 elite and under-23 women took to the water. In the elite women's race, we had athletes from Mexico. The Mexicans had hoped to race earlier this year in Pontevedra for the World Championships, but for some reasons were unable to. But we have given them special permission to race at the European Championships. They can race for the points and they can race for the prize money, but they cannot win a European medal.
Ma non è out in lottato.
76 from France.
È out in lottato.
77 from Austria, Karina Vasle.
Karina Vasle coming onto the start area here now, one of the most experienced athletes on the circuit. As they take to the water, the strength in the water will be seen from the Ukrainian athlete, Sofia Prima. And this athlete has some enormous power in the water. Today was not going to be her day, unfortunately. The swim, she led quite comfortably. But out on the bike, there were technical problems. And it seems that her racing, firstly in Dnipro and then in Kiev, on successive weekends, had taken an awful lot of power out of her legs. But she did lead the swim. We'll see them coming around the turn buoy very soon, with the men leading and the women some 3 to 5 minutes behind. As we move now down to the turn buoy, we'll see that the leading male athlete is in fact Camilo Puertas Fernandez from Spain, and just behind him, taking good draft, there is Matteo Bozzato from Italy. And in third place, just behind them, is the under-23 athlete from the Netherlands, Victor Groene. A great position for the under-23 athlete. They're showing a wonderful stroke in the water. It's always much nicer to have these races where a wetsuit is not allowed. We can pick the athletes out far more easily. The water in the lake has been replenished recently. They take the water straight from the river that's adjacent to the park, and I think it's called the river Mures. And for those of you who are wondering about the Dracula night swim that many of the athletes and the supporters will be taking part in, yes, there are large frogs in the river, in the lake. So, Puertas Fernandez leading, Bozzato in second place, and just behind him, Groene from the Netherlands.
Matteo Bozzato from Italy, racing in the under.
Coming to transition now, with cross triathlon, it's not the same as the racing out on the road, where if you miss that lead group in the water, you've lost the race. The skill of riding a mountain bike on a course such as this one in Târgu Mures, you need to have the skill of a mountain biker. So, will this lead continue? Will Puertas Fernandez still lead? Well, Bozzato managed to get out first. Tim van Hemel, defending champion. The Dutch and the Belgian fans all shouting him on. Groene there, Arthur Serrier from France.
Well as Lucas van Dijnsen. And now we have a big bunch. Come on, Lucas, come on, to the swim exit.
The Italians were in force. It was a good performance across the board for the Italian athletes.
In the meantime,
Now we see Sofia Prima from Ukraine leading the swim there for the elite and under-23 women. Just behind her she has the Spanish athlete Laura Gomez Ramon. She had a strong swim, but unfortunately for her it was a DNF later in the race. The athletes go along this road and they then go up onto a grassy bank before they disappear out onto the bike course. These two athletes have a lead of about 5 seconds over Adriana Fabiola Corona, the Mexican athlete. Drohovska there just edging ahead of the Mexican athlete going into the T1. Out onto the bike now.
It's a real cross triathlon. Pass the line, please. Pass the line.
Clear instructions there from the technical officials, making sure the athletes go beyond the mount line before they get onto the bike. If they mount the bike before that mount line, that will be a penalty for them to be served out on the run course. Now, Mendito, she's one to watch. She and Prima have been racing against each other over the years, with Sofia Prima taking the title here in 2017 and Mendito from Italy taking the silver. Vassler, hugely experienced on the Xterra circuit, racing winter triathlon and cross triathlon. Unfortunately, today was not going to be her day.
Welcome to Magali Moreau from France.
A strong swim there from Moreau.
Allez! Pass the line. Pass the line.
And we see some of the stronger women athletes catching up on the men.
Y'a rien. Une 15, Rio et toute la clique. Allez, go. Allez. C'est maintenant que ça commence, hein. Go, allez.
And now, despite it being really hot, that's our mountain rescue team there to look after people. Now, they've ridden all the way up the hill. This is a huge climb. Tim van Hemel taking an early lead there. In fact, the positions have changed there with Tim van Hemel leading the race ahead of Puertas Fernandez. Ruzafa now up into 4th place. And the under-23 athlete Gatti ahead of Kubicek. Having left the lake, they then had crossed a railway line, a main road, ridden past a graveyard, and then disappeared into the trees. And the moment they get into the tree line, that's when the climbing starts. And it doesn't seem to stop. This is a relentless course. We've had comments from the athletes over the days, and for everybody, they've said that the course here is one of the toughest ones they've ridden on, and much, much better than the one they had back in 2017, using the same woods. Prima still leading there with the Mexican athlete just behind. Meyerhofer from Italy also racing winter triathlon. Mendito is there. And Vassler really struggling in the heat. The surface was absolutely perfect. Not an awful lot of mud, but very technical, very hard racing. Peroncini from Italy there. She was the world champion, the reigning world champion, having won the race in Pontevedra only a couple of months ago. Missing that moment. The bike loses its forward motion. The athlete has to get off. Time is lost. The chain can be shipped. We had several athletes who had real difficulties with the chain getting caught up in the mechanism. We had a broken rear mech on one of the athletes. And with the athletes having problems like this, they have to fix it themselves. No outside assistance is permitted. The light inside the forest was very, very intense, but the shadows were dark. So for an athlete looking to the light, the dark, the light, the dark, it was very, very difficult to really understand what the ground was going to be like in front of you. But these are experts on two wheels, and they're experts in this sort of terrain. Arthur Serrier is now attacking, doing his best to keep up and edge his way through the pack. Ruzafa is now catching up to Hune there. Ruzafa's swim time was not so strong, but he's managed to catch up with Gatti just behind there. Van Hemel now comfortably in a strong position, looking to take that title once again. There were multiple laps up in the forest. It was about 24 kilometres. And then, of course, they have the run. The run takes them onto the other side of the complex, the hill. But it's a question of balance, trying to make sure they don't use too much energy on the legs and saving some energy for the run. We'll try and pick out in a minute the athlete from France, Morgane Rieu. Her biking was just unbelievable. One of the fastest splits we saw of the day, which took her comfortably into the lead on the bike course. In the under-23 category again, this is Lidia Drahovska from Slovakia. At this point is where Rozafa had now taken the lead on the bike. He had overtaken the earlier leaders from the swim, and his power out on two wheels was just simply too much for anybody to match. Rozafa had lost about 30 seconds in the swim, but having made that time up out on the bike course, Van Hemel had only now to look at how much energy he had. Could he attack on the run?
Exactly 16 minutes.
Goed zo! Tikken, tikken! Camilo! Vamos, vamos! Muy bien, vamos arriba!
In the under-23 category, the men, we have Groene from the Netherlands, Gier from France, and Gatti. Gatti's looking the strongest out on the bike after Groene's early lead in the swim. this athlete, Morgane Rioux from France. She was looking so strong out on the bike. She knew the venue, having raced here in 2017 when she took a silver medal, but now she's so much stronger on the bike, and her time was going to take her straight into the lead. Ruzafa now coming into the final drag to go down to the transition area, the dismount line. In this race, we have quite a long run from the dismount line across the blue carpet down into the transition area. Van Hemel now chasing. As Van Hemel entered the blue carpet area, he could see in the distance that Ruzafa was racking the bike and getting his running shoes on. Ruzafa making sure that everything that he's used goes into the box. And now, just a couple of laps on the run. The lead that Ruzafa had over Van Hemel was about 80, nearly 90 meters. And these two are now going to be battling out into the woods, taking on water.
Pojď Honzo, dobře, dávej.
Ta wypadła! W ogóle jej nie widziałyśmy!
Looking really strong now coming off the bike. It is Tommaso Gatti, but he's racing the under-23 category. He's beaten some of the very senior athletes, much more experienced athletes, coming into the transition area in third place. Arthur Serrier there from France. He'd spent nearly 3 minutes repairing his chain that had snapped out in the forest. He'd managed to relocate some wire from the bike and had saved the chain, but lost valuable time out there making that repair, seeing his medal chances disappear. So the action now moves from the forest up into the transition area before the athletes run back out into the forest for the looping run course. Groene holding that position, looking still strong. Is there a chance for a medal for Groene from the Netherlands?
Allez, courage, jusqu'au bout. Allez, reste concentré, allez.
Jibine. Non, pas ça.
Now the elite and the under-23 athletes will all be provided with bottled water, and it's sealed. So for the anti-doping guys later, everything is in order. Now, once out onto the run course, it was Arthur Serrier doing his very best to catch up the leaders, but Van Hemel is holding into the second place with Ruzafa still out in front. Now for the athletes, at the aid station they have a littering zone, and at this littering zone they're able to throw away equipment. It's marked out for about 20 meters before the zone and for about 80 meters afterwards. So what he's thrown on the floor there, it's okay, it's within the littering area. If he'd done that outside of the littering area, then he gets a time penalty. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake there. Holding on to the rack. As he went round the corner there, holding on to the rack, that's something that could attract a time penalty. And the referee will make the decision as to whether that penalty will be given. And if he has a penalty, then he has to stand in the penalty box out on the run course. Athletes are not allowed to hold on to something fixed to make their turn easily. It's a real problem, and at this level they should really have known better. The penalty they get is a standing penalty in the penalty box. Valuable time lost. So Van Hemel is still chasing the Rosafa. But he really looked so strong. He was running easily, and nothing that Tim Van Hemel could do, the defending European champion, he simply couldn't catch Rosafa. On the lap course, Van Hemel was able to see exactly where Rosafa was, and despite all of his coaching from the side, all of the shouts of encouragement, he simply couldn't make that distance up and had to watch Rosafa pull away further and further. For the women, it was of course the French athlete Morgane Rieu. She was supreme out on the bike course. Arthur Serrier, having had that dreadful moment out on the bike course with the chain snapping, is now gradually moving up through the field, overtaking Kubicek from the Czech Republic. Rinaldi from Italy moving up as well.
Tommaso Gatti is on the first place in under 23 men category.
But running really strong, behind Gier, is the Austrian athlete Silberbauer.
Ja, wij komen naar jou toe. Ja.
Gatti leading the race now for the under-23s. Morgane Rieu setting off for her first lap.
Allez, bravo!
Nou, we moeten nu opschieten.
And looking strong now in the second place, silver medal position for France in the under-23 category. That's Thibaut Gier. Silberbauer now has him in his sight. Silberbauer racing for the elite, Gier in the under-23, but Silberbauer's running style is much stronger. Our swim leader, Puertas. And Alex Rhodes, not having the best day in the office, but still digging in deep. And full of praise later for the organisers and for the tough course and for everybody he raced against. In bronze medal position from the Netherlands in the under-23 category, this is Victor Groene. Having moved up through the pack into the silver medal position now for the elite in the women's category, this is Eleonora Peroncini, the reigning world champion, and Sandra Meyerhofer, also from Italy. So Italy in silver and bronze position.
My boss.
Bravo!
Grande Fili, vai!
Vai, acum mouse.
In front of Mendito there is Bolzano, but Mendito has the greater pace, as we've seen from her racing in the past. Having a great race as well, all the way from Mexico. We have Adriana Fabiola Corona. She and her teammate thoroughly enjoyed the Parade of Nations. They'd never seen anything like it. They thought that the walk through the town, the entrance to the castle, was magnificent. And heading down now to the finish. The job done. European champion goes to Ruzafa. An absolutely amazing bike ride that took him into the lead. He held that for the run. The title, the glory, is all with him.
With 1 hour 41 minutes and 51 seconds. O oră 41 de minute 51 de secunde.
And he has quite a long wait now. He's got nearly 2 minutes to wait for Tim van Hemel. So the defending champion loses the title. Van Hemel came to the race with the European Cross Triathlon and Cross Duathlon title, having won both of them in Ibiza last year, but today was not his. Still enjoying the moment. Great reception there from the public. From Belgium, Tim van Hemel. Despite losing his title, the atmosphere, the friendship between the athletes is so strong. But looking behind, who's going to come across in third place? It's not an elite athlete at all. No, it's an under-23 athlete. It's Tommaso Gatti from Italy. He's made his way through the pack.
I couldn't catch you, so... Load!
For the athletes who are still out on the laps, as they head down towards that dead turn and can see the finish, they know they've got one more lap to do out on that very difficult run course. Here comes our third place athlete, a winner of the under-23 category, Tommaso Gatti from Italy. Hearing the applause and the shouts and the cheers, a slight downhill, and Arthur Serrier is behind him. Serrier, who's had such a great run. Serrier, who broke his chain and fixed it out on the course, and it was a sprint finish right the way through to the carpet, and then everything went into shutdown for Serrier. Gatti takes the bronze medal. Serrier posts the fastest run of the day. And now one of the best moments of the race is to get all of the winning athletes 1, 2 and 3 together for a quick photograph that gets sent around the world. And there, ladies and gentlemen, your medal winners, your gold, silver and bronze in the elite race. Interesting, you see Gatti there in the elite medals. He takes a bronze in the elite, but he gets a gold for the under 23s. And crossing the line there in second place in the under 23 championships from France, it is Thibaut Gir. Having heard the bell now, Morgan Rieu sets off on her final lap. She is way out in the lead now. Into the finish area now, Victor Groene from the Netherlands sails past Alex Rhodes from Great Britain, and Groene heads down towards the blue carpet to take the bronze medal in the under 23 category. Groene's performance takes him not only to the bronze medal in the under 23s, but also gives him a top 10 finish overall. Meyerhofer doing her very best out on the course, but she's struggling to catch up with Peroncini. So still it's Rieu, Peroncini and Meyerhofer in 1, 2 and 3 position for the elite women. Meyerhofer can see Peroncini ahead of her, the world champion. Italian teammate, but all the hard work that Meyerhofer is doing, she simply can't catch her. Mendito now moving up through the ranks. She's overtaken Prima, who's now dropped off on the bike and on the run. Bolzan from Italy is in the silver medal position for the under 23 women, but Mendito is running easily and relaxed. Having raced here as a junior before, she knows the course very well, she knows the conditions. Bolzan is running now about a minute slower than Mendito, but she had a fantastic bike leg out on the course. It's on the run that Mendito would overtake her. Now Laura Gomez Ramon out on the run course, but she decided about halfway around the run course that today was not going to be the day to push her body too far, because she would also be racing in the cross duathlon a couple of days later. As we can see now, she's pulled out. And for Sofia Prima, the run just proved that little bit too much of a tough one for her. She'd raced, we said earlier, in Dnipro, where she had a solid race in quite tough conditions. A week later, she raced in Kiev, where the temperatures hit 40 degrees. And we spoke to her after the race. She said, I simply had no energy left. It was so exhausting. One race after another. But these are elite athletes, and they are still performing at the very highest level, delivering the best. But today was just that little bit too much for Sofia Prima from Ukraine, and a medal was hers, but it wasn't the colour she wanted. Having seen all the other athletes swim away from her and then not being able to catch up with them on the bike course, we see Magali Moreau from France posting one of the strongest runs of the entire race. But nobody could run fast enough to catch Morgane Rieu from France. As she heads now down, the smiles across her face. She's heard the bell. Her final lap is done. The hands are there. The title goes to Morgane Rieu from France. We said this was a biker's course, and her power on the bike was what won the race. She had to wait over 3 minutes before the silver medal came anywhere near to the finish line. And it was Peroncini who was the athlete, just held on in front of Sandra Meyerhofer. So Eleonora Peroncini heading up now to the final long run down to the finish. Alex Rhodes warming up the crowds. Peroncini, the world champion, taking a silver medal at the European Championships behind simply the strongest biker on the circuit now. And Sandra Meyerhofer, having raced in temperatures that were down to almost minus 20, races today in temperatures that are 40 degrees difference to claim the bronze medal. So Italy taking silver and bronze together. Gold, silver and bronze, the elite women. But now racing for the European Under-23 title. Marta Mendito from Italy. With Mathilde Bolzan coming home for the silver. Italy, gold and silver. Today was a domination for the Italian women in the elite and under-23 categories, taking second, third, fourth and fifth place overall.
Finally, I'm very happy because I suffered a lot in the first lap and in the second lap of the bike, and I could take the help the race and finally take enough time to finish in the run in the first one. Second guy, Van Hemel, he was really fast in the bike. He surprised me, so it made the race very harder than I thought. So really happy with this win. The place is incredible. The place, the forest and the track is really a true triathlon cross courses. And yeah, I like a lot.
I think it was on the bike. It's a very hard loop here in Romania, and I wanted to push hard because in fact in swimming I'm not very good. I knew that I would be like 6 or 7. So I wanted to push hard at the beginning on the bike, and so I gave all my strength on the beginning. But rapidly I was first, so I just keep to push hard on all the bikes. And when I begin the run, it was quite hard. but I knew that it was my specialty, so then it was better for me.
Having 3 laps in the bike, did you manage to improve yourself from one lap to another? Did you do it quicker?
I don't know if I was quicker, but I know that in the technical part I did better on the third loop because I did less error. But in fact it's hard because on the third you have less trains, and so it's hard also the third loop, yeah.
You were quite leading the group in a few minutes. How was running alone some of the route than having competitors near you? Did you do your best having that?
Yeah, I think at the beginning I was with some few girls, but rapidly in fact there was some in front of me, so I pushed hard to keep them, and then when I was alone I was good, in fact, because I like this sensation to be alone on the first.
A sea of blue uniforms as Italy celebrates its strength and successes.
We have in the city the Triathlon sprint.
Our fastest run of the day, Magali Moreau, and she's just ahead of Sofia Prima, who will be coming home to take the bronze medal in the under-23 category.
U23, third place, Sofia Prima.
You can see it's a really wonderful atmosphere here in Transylvania. How on earth did we get this sort of event coming to the darkest part of Transylvania? Well, a few years ago, Peter Klosch and the Romanian Federation held the Balkan Championships here for the duathlon, running the course in a completely different direction, and they invited European Triathlon Union to have a look at the event. Well, we were really impressed, and we thought that we could work on this and build it up a bit. So the 2016 Cross Duathlon Championships came here for the elite, under-23s, juniors, paras, and of course the age groupers. And the reports that came back were so very strong. Everybody was happy with the course, the organisation was good, and then in 2017 the two cross events, triathlon and duathlon, were mixed together. The feedback was even better. The brand grew, the logos developed, the publicity and the media worked really well, and so there was never any question when they put a bid in to host the 2019 ETU Multisport Festival, it had to come here to Transylvania.
And we still have the medal ceremonies this evening at 7 p.m.
So in the men's race, the Italians are strong, but the winner overall, Ruben Rusafa. In the French race, there you have Italy. Once again, the Italians are strong, but the title going to Morgan Rieu.
The elite female on the third place, Sandra Merhofer from Italy.
Presenting medals will be Chris Kitchen, the Vice President of the European Triathlon Union, and Peter Klosch, the President of the Romanian Triathlon Federation and leader, race director of this event.
And the winner of... She's the winner of the silver medal. And the second place in the elite women, and the winner, Indicator. And the gold medalist and your European champion from France, Morgan Rieu. Now let's applause for the elite male. Championship of Cross Triathlon. And on the third place from Italy, Tommaso Gotti. Second place from Belgium is the former European champion, Tim van Hemel. And the winner of the silver medal. And the winner of the gold medal and the new European champion of cross triathlon from Spain, Ruben Ruzafa!
So the medals have been won, the championship titles have been awarded. Day one of the Multisport Festival is over, and we look forward to day two, which will be the Sprint Duathlon Downtown Race.